share. I'm writing earnings. What are you guys doing?
Well,
I'm watching you write earnings.
It's good
checking my daily results.
Wow, up 52%.
Who?
Facebook.
That's a lot. That's crazy growth.
Since when?
Year over year.
No, I see 22%.
Do you see 79 cents a share, 5.8 billion revenue? The revenue is the jump of 52%. Is it only?
Okay.
Is it only 22?
I'm looking at their stock, and since January 1st of 2015 until today, they're at roughly, let's see, 21.12% since January 1st.
Oh, you're looking at the stock price. Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah. They had a huge bump in late July, but then they dropped back down in mid-August. Amazon, however, is up almost 90% over the year. They have very nice, steady, slow growth with a couple of bumps.
Yeah, because they don't give any dividends.
Right.
$1.59 billion users.
Wow.
That's why everyone is so hard on Twitter.
Yeah, that'd be why. The next guy up is pretty terrifying.
Yeah, you guys, I'm only on Monday's show, but yesterday I assume you talked about all the Twitter shakeup stuff. I'm sure that came up.
Yep. We did, and we kind of carried on a conversation from Monday's show about Twitter.
I'm caught up on nothing right now. If you could describe my life in a couple of words, it would be not caught up.
I'm lucky. I have 4 people writing scripts for me for Geek Days, so I get to catch up when I read their scripts.
They tell you,
yep,
this is what happened.
They give me the 6 biggest stories of the past 24 hours.
That's all right.
Works for me.
I'm going to give you the earnings thing, Scott.
Okay. Give me the earnings.
You got it.
I like all the earnings.
Oh, the earnings.
Yes. Put them in my inbox, y'all.
All right, let's get this show on the road. I'm going to start the Alpha Geek Media so Todd doesn't go, Tom, are you okay? Is something wrong? He was very nice about it. He's like, you forgot.
He does do that.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Podcasts about technology in your daily lives from people who like to put pants on frogs and one guy with a trustworthy-looking beard. The Daily Tech News Show with Tom Merritt is brought to you by you and I at dailytechnewsshow.com/donate.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, January 27th, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Mr. Scott Johnson, regular Wednesday DTNS contributor. How are you, Mr. Scott Johnson, founder of the Frog Pants Network?
I'm so good, Mr. Tom Merritt of the DTNS World Championships.
Yes, I am husband of champion parallel parker Eileen Rivera. Also joining us is Breki Tomasson, founder of the CyCon Network at CyCon.fm. How are you, sir?
Just great. How are you, Tom?
Lovely. It's good to have both of you together. This is like a super group.
So it is.
Look at all these founders. We were talking pre-show about all the founding that went on in this group of 3 people. It's amazing.
Probably creating a founders virus at this very moment.
We should probably pivot our foundings, and
we're going to talk a little bit about the world's reaction to Apple in a little bit, but we also got a lot of machine learning news to get to. Let's start off with the headlines. Facebook plans on rolling out a more expressive like button option. You've probably heard about this before. They're going to call it Reactions. It should come out in the next few weeks, according to Bloomberg's conversations with Facebook Chief Product Officer Chris Cox. The 5 new options will be angry, sad, wow, haha, and love, in addition to the existing like. On mobile, users will get to those by holding on the thumbs up button until a little sub-menu for the reactions pops up.
So reactions, where have I seen that before? Oh, I remember. It's in Slack. We have reactions in Slack, and it works kind of the exact same way. You click a thing, and you get a bunch of reactions. And then people can support that reaction, and I'm being a little facetious, but it's not all that original. But hey, what is on the internet? I think this is a good move, and I'm stoked they're going to finally implement it.
And a lot of people have been asking for a dislike button because they're like, oh, like if a friend of mine dies, I want to express, an emotion about it, but I don't want to press the like button. That would be a horrible thing. So now you have a sad reaction, and that's the idea here. I guess they've considered yay as a reaction as well, but that didn't test well. A lot of people were confused by what it meant. Breki, what is your reaction to reactions?
Wow, like, I don't know. I really miss a meh button. Because that kind of reaction shows up every now and again, and you kind of want to express that kind of feeling instead of just writing those 3 letters and a period at the end. I don't know if there are many things on Facebook that I think are either worthy of being angry, sad, wowed, ha-ha'd, or loved over. Most of them are, oh, you ate a biscuit. Meh.
Shrug.
Right.
Yeah.
Shrug would have been all right. Meh would have been okay. And I wonder if yay didn't test well because it has that double meaning. It can be on the one hand this excitement. On the other hand, it sounds like somebody going yay and moving on.
Well, it's like the sorry emote in Hearthstone, right? It can be misused greatly.
Yeah.
How about an ironic good for you?
All right.
Good for you.
Good for you. Yeah, I don't know. What they've picked here is nice and safe. I think it'll all be fine. But we'll see soon enough how that all works out. Google VP of VR, the VP of VR, I love how that sounds. Clay Baber wrote a post announcing 5 million Google Cardboard headsets have been shipped. This includes third-party and giveaways. Google launched Cardboard at I/O in 2014. That's their annual conference. I remember at the time thinking, this is the weirdest thing ever. What a joke. I can't even believe they're doing this. And, man, look at us now. 25 million Cardboard apps have been installed through Google Play. The absolute top #1 Google Cardboard app right now and for all time is Chair in a Room, which I have not experienced myself, but I hear good things about Chair.
It's better than it sounds if you've never tried it. It's a storytelling app, so you get like a 3D story. It's much more exciting than just sitting in a chair in a room.
Sounds terrific.
Yeah. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler has proposed requiring multi-channel video programming distributors, MVPDs, basically cable and satellite television companies, to allow subscribers to use any set-top box to access their service. It's cable card again, except this time it's called Allvid, or it's called a proposal. The proposal is to give access to what programming is available, what people can do with it, and of course the content itself. Companies could use any published transparent format to do so. They're not mandating that part in the proposal. They're just saying you need to give access to these things. Thanks to starfuryzeta for posting about it in the subreddit.
Is there any, this may sound super dumb, I'm just going to spitball it. Would it be, is there ever any reason why they could also then say, hey, Apple TV, hey, Roku, hey, set-top boxes that aren't cable companies, you also have to do this? In other words, hey, Apple, you can't not have the Amazon app. Or can they never get that granular?
Okay, that's a good question, because this isn't about the device makers. This is about program distributors, specifically about multi-channel video programming distributors, which are defined in law and given benefits. They're given strict rules about carriage fees. They're given rules about competition, and some of them are favorable and some of them aren't. So this is a very strict definition which only applies to cable and satellite providers. In fact, internet television distributions like Sony PlayStation Vue don't fall under MVPD rules. They would like to, because there's a mandated fee about carriage that they would like to take advantage of. In other words, you can't refuse to allow an MVPD to carry your channel as long as they're willing to pay your fee. And that's what has kept things like Aereo from working. Aereo tried to say, hey, we're an MVPD. We'll just pay the fee, and they have to let us do it, and the court said, no, you're not. So this says if you're going to benefit from these rules, cable and satellite TV companies, you have to let any box connect to your service.
Interesting. So they can't limit it to only their DVR, only their receiver. That has to be a more open thing. That makes sense. BBC's reporting Apple believes it has fixed a problem that causes Safari browsers to crash for some users. This is when they did searches, and those searches were carried out in the address bar directly. I do this quite a bit and experienced this very lockup, actually. The issue affected people whose, quote, suggestions, quote, cache updated between 9 and 12 GMT. Users may be able to speed up this fix by just clearing history and website data from Safari's preferences, but a fix incoming, so you won't have to run into that blind.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it was a software problem. There's no security patch or anything. It sounds like it was a problem on the Safari server end, and what was put in your suggestions cache caused the issue. So that's why clearing it out would speed the fix along.
My problem was it wasn't, well, I shouldn't say my problem, but it was actually okay when it worked out this way. But if it's the same problem, I was locking up in a tab only, and all other tabs were unaffected. So if I got out of the tab I was doing that search in and started again, I was usually fine. So
that makes sense. Breki, did you run into this?
No, I don't use Safari.
Listen, man, Safari, I got to say this about Safari real quick. I have not been a Safari user since nearly the beginning of Safari being a thing. And on the Mac, I've got both PCs and Macs around here. And on the Mac, I've always gone either Firefox or later Chrome, and then kind of bounced between those two. And I've tried other things here and there. And for the longest time, I just put it off. But the latest build of Safari, despite this small issue, is super, super fast, has all the functionality I really need, and uses way less resources on any of the Macs I run it on. I've been very, very impressed with it. So I've been not a hater, but I haven't really cared about Safari in the past, but I think I'm kind of back until they blow it or someone does something better. But it's running better for me than any competing browsers right now.
Doesn't run very well on. I don't use it on Windows. Does it still run on Windows even?
Oh, I don't even know.
I don't think it does. No, I was considering moving over to Safari for a bit, but I really like being able to share extensions and bookmarks and so on between my home computer and my work computer. And my work computer is running Windows, and I just couldn't find a good version of Safari that was recent enough.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're not going to have that cross synchronization the way that Google does with Chrome across platforms. I don't think anyway, unless that Windows version of Safari is still a thing. But between Macs, it works great. I know that. But between Mac and a PC environment, they're probably going to be out of luck.
Yeah, and I'm just too dependent on a lot of my Chrome extensions, so I couldn't make the switch until Safari does something similar.
Yeah. Project Decibel announced its first product Wednesday called Starry Internet. The service delivers internet at up to a gigabit per second wirelessly to window-mounted device called a StarPoint. It's just a receiver of the millimeter wave band broadcast, which operates in the 38 gigahertz spectrum. That's an unoccupied spectrum and usually requires line of sight, but they've got some technology that uses buildings to bounce it around. If you want to pay an extra $349, you can purchase a Star Station, which is an Android-powered touchscreen wireless router built for managing Starry internet connections, and it gives you some parental controls, lets you see what's going on with your connection and the health of the connection right on that touchscreen. Variety reports the company has filed for test applications in Seattle, Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Detroit, and Washington, D.C., and it is launching on February 5th in Boston. Project Decibel is run by Chet Kanogia, the former CEO of Aereo. Thanks to HuskyCaucasian for posting this in the subreddit.
You brought up this on TMS this morning in a tech segment, and sounded like they've parlayed a lot of the technology they were using for Aereo into this project, or at least it seems like a repurposing of a lot of what Aereo was doing. I think that's great, and they had said they were going to do that when everything got shut down, and there looked like there were no other legal options for them. Part of some of that departure letter stuff was we're gonna figure out what to do with our rad stuff, and we'll see everybody again soon. And here it is, I guess.
Yeah, it's not using the same technology, obviously, but some of the wireless expertise is fed into this. They have some experts, one from MIT that's working on this, and it's technology that other people have experimented with. So it's not crazy to think that they can do this. Of course, it is different in practice, especially out in Boston where they're going to try it, to say, okay, we're going to deliver this line of sight internet reliably and consistently at or near a gigabit per second to people. They were saying it's only cost them about $25 per individual household to set up, which is a big savings over the estimated $2,500 per household it costs for a cable company to set up a house with a connection. So yeah, I mean, this is an interesting gambit. The proof is in the pudding, whether it actually works in practice, though.
Yeah, disruptive competition is always good in my mind, so I'm very excited to see what they do. Google's DeepMind researchers published a paper in Nature announcing their machine intelligence AlphaGo has defeated Fan Hui, a 3-time European Go champion. That is no small slouch right there. The computer won 5 games of Go without a defeat. Go, for those who don't know, well, you can look it up on the internet, but former CEO of Nintendo, I forgot his name. He was the old man. Anyway, he was there for a long time. Huge Go fan. A lot of Nintendo fans will know what we're talking about. Anyway, computer won 5 games of Go without a defeat. Next up in March, AlphaGo goes and takes on Lee Sedol, the top Go player in the world for at least the last 10 years or so. Facebook also published findings on its Dark Forest Go AI, which is also making good progress.
Go has been the hardest to get machines up to speed on, to get machines to be able to beat humans. I mean, it was in the 90s when Deep Blue beat Kasparov, the world champion chess player at the time. Checkers was, a computer's been able to beat checkers for decades now, but there's something about Go that is very unique to the human way of thinking, and I find this to be probably the biggest news of the day, Breki, that we've got machines that can beat Go experts now. That's gargantuan.
It really is, absolutely. I mean, I'm not holding my breath to wait for them to say we just have somebody now who beats you in Monopoly and so on, because Go, it's the big one. It really is, and until they defeat us in professional wrestling as well, I'm just going to stay impressed.
Well, if you get the big dog robot with the DeepMind algorithm running in it, I think it could probably beat you at wrestling.
Scary stuff.
Is that the one you kick and it almost falls over?
Yeah,
but
it won't fall over, and then it's mad because you just kicked it.
It hurts me every time you see them kick them because they just look so lifelike.
Yeah, they've anthropomorphized, or at the very least, made it look like a real animal. I hate that. It feels weird when they kick them.
Yeah.
And future robots are going to watch those videos and just get angrier and angrier. Google will license a family of VPU chips called Myriad 2 from chip maker Movidius. The 12-core chip enables low-power computer vision processing, which, when combined with machine learning, could allow mobile devices to view, interpret, and understand images without having to have an internet connection. The new chip is estimated to save 10 to 100 times the power over current models of similar chips, so also bringing machine learning out of the data center and into your mobile device. Movidius chips have previously been used inside Google's Project Tango, which is an attempt to use vision processing to map the world around you. So again, another big machine learning advance coming possibly is a phone, and not so much, Project Tango is about mapping the world, but even just having your phone, you take a picture and it's like, oh, that's a picture of a Rottweiler because I've learned what a Rottweiler is. Like that kind of stuff can be amazing.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's not just for CAPTCHA anymore. Seems like you could start doing some real cool stuff with this. After French taxi drivers burned tires and closed down roadways, geez, France, this happened yesterday, French government has issued fines against Uber. Uber has been ordered to pay 1.2 million euro to a French taxi union for behaving like taxis, and this is, they say, because they've been waiting by the street to pick up passengers instead of returning to their garages after the trip was done. The Guardian reports Uber denies these charges.
Yeah, Uber says, no, we tell people to go back to their garage. And again, we're not talking about, there's a lot of confusion when we talk about Uber and we call it a ride-sharing service. There's Uber or Uber Pool. Those are ride-sharing services. That's where I've got a car, I sign up, I say, hey, I will take people from place to place for a fee. And that is legit ride-sharing, because I'm just a person with a car. Then there's Uber X, where Uber arranges higher quality rides. That's where you get the background checks. There are some background checks now going in some countries, even for the regular Uber drivers. But it is a more professional installation of this, and I think that's where a lot of this comes in. And what the taxi companies are saying is, well, if an Uber drops off a guy at the cafe and then just parks and waits at the cafe for the next person, that's breaking the rules. The rules are you can't wait for a passenger. You have to go back to where you came from every time. And of course, the Uber drivers don't want to do that. They don't want to go back home every time they've dropped somebody off because it's inefficient. It's not the way Uber works. So
well, even if they did, isn't the complicated part that how do you enforce this stuff? Because if with a taxi company, let's say, you've got management in place and you have people that are sort of managing things, but with Uber, at least the way I understand it may vary country to country and region to region, but the way I understand it is you're kind of your own boss. You kind of do what you're going to do, and Uber has little control over what you do after you drop somebody off or where you're going next or where you may park your car. So
well, Uber says no. We tell people to do this, and we're not driving around with a light off, or a light on, trying to get people to wave us down, is what they say.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, what's the state of the ride-sharing wars where you're at, Breki?
So far so good. I mean, we haven't had any major problems with Uber. The only thing that I've noticed really is that they need to register as taxi cars. So they have a yellow license plate instead of a white one. But other than that, nobody seems to mind. I don't think taxi driver should be a protected title like doctor or psychologist should be. But I see why some countries have problems with this because it is a disruptive industry, and sometimes countries want to protect things.
Well, and there are two sets of rules. I mean, I entirely get why if I'm a taxi driver who's paying for insurance, for licenses, for doing all kinds of things to fight to get one of those medallions like they have in San Francisco or to get a license in Paris, and then suddenly some guy comes along and just signs up on an app and can take rides away from me, I get the frustration.
Absolutely, but I mean, the people who sold and delivered ice, they were furious when the refrigerators came around, but you don't see the government protecting the ice deliverers.
Yeah, well, but there should be one set. I guess there should be one set of rules, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
You shouldn't make the taxi drivers leap through as many hoops then necessarily. Just make the industries work the same way.
Right. Techier
said than done, believe me, I know. Tech in Asia passes along a report from Indotelco that state-owned Telkom, which is Indonesia's largest enterprise network service provider, has blocked Netflix. Telkom owns a bunch of services: IndiHome, Wi-Fi.id, mobile carrier Telkomsel. Any of the customers on any of those networks cannot access Netflix. Now, Telkom's director of consumer services says Netflix contains pornographic material and other inappropriate content, and that's why they're blocking it. You may have heard that the Indonesian government recently gave Netflix a month to get a business license to operate in the country. So having the state-owned Telkom crack down on them could easily be seen as some sort of 1-2 punch to encourage Netflix to hurry up and get that business license. I don't know.
Yeah, they interesting. This is I mean, their sudden move to we're everywhere now. Netflix expanding to so many new countries and so many new cultures and levels of acceptance and all this sort of thing means that I don't think this is the last time we're going to hear about this, and every single case is going to be different. In fact, it's not unlike the previous story. Every time Uber does something somewhere new, a whole new set of problems arise that have nothing to do with where they launched or where they may go next. And I don't know what the ultimate end around is around this. Although I know we talked off air in the prep a little bit about how some people are getting around these restrictions. But yeah, I don't think that story is over for Netflix. We're going to hear about this for a few years.
Oh yeah, if you're an Indonesian consumer, there is a way to get to Netflix, I'm sure, through some kind of proxy. But having your ISP block it at that level is harder. Is more difficult to get around than just switching VPN providers, I would expect.
Absolutely. I mean, Netflix, they've gone now live in every single country and area of the world except 4. It's China, Crimea, North Korea, and Syria because of restrictions and so on. But people in these places, they watch Netflix anyway. There are VPNs or some kinds of DNS hacks you can do that just allow you to see Netflix. People have been doing this even before they started selling it in all kinds of countries. I mean, even in China, House of Cards is a huge show.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we were just talking with Peter Wells in the Slack earlier about how one of Australia's national tabloids published an article today about all the ways you can get around the VPN blocks if you're getting blocked on Netflix. So it's a cat and mouse game.
There's always a way. Facebook reported 79 cents per share. This is pretty breaking news. Happened not long ago on $5.8 billion in revenue. That's up 52% year over year. That's insane. Analysts expect 68 cents a share on revenue of $5.37 billion. Or that's what they expected. Average revenue per user is up 26% to 3.73. Facebook reached 1.59 billion users. That is up from 1.55 billion last quarter. Seems like Facebook is not having too much trouble growing at an alarming rate.
Yeah, eBay crashed nearly 10% in after-hours trading after its revenues were flat. Facebook, on the other hand, is skyrocketing because they're selling on mobile. They earned record profits in 2015. Their ad revenue on mobile is going up, and that was the big fear. Remember, years ago, they're like, how's Facebook going to make money on mobile? Well, they're making it hand over fist now, and they're beating expectations. So yeah, very different than a lot of the other earnings reports we've been hearing, and we'll be talking about Apple with the idea that, well, the economy is slowing down. Facebook is able to find more and more ways to get ad revenue, and it like Google, is largely funded through advertising.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's just yesterday, was it yesterday maybe? I'm trying to think, I was on another show where somebody was talking about how they're always trying to find reasons not to use Facebook. They hate it. They think it's on its way out. They don't understand why people are still using it. And I don't care what anecdotal thing you hear from anyone anywhere about Facebook. It absolutely does not jive with the numbers. I don't think it's possible to gauge Facebook's success by how sick of it you are or how your news feed is full of spam or whatever. Whatever they're doing seems to be working just fine. And to give a revenue number of 52% year over year increase, that is insane. There are lots of companies that would be happy to take on that problem. So yeah, I as much as there are things to say about Facebook, but I feel like sometimes the nerderati out there is certain that there is a gravestone already carved and ready for Facebook to go the way of MySpace or something, and yet it flies in the face of that.
I think one of their big advantages right now is they have Messenger, which is a platform that they're really betting everything on at the moment. They want to tie in a lot more services into Messenger, just get it out there as much as possible. Even the way they bought Messenger.com to allow people to chat via the Facebook Messenger without actually being on Facebook. A lot of people that I know use Messenger and nothing else when it comes to the Facebook environment. And that, I think, is a growth opportunity for them as well.
Yeah, average revenue per user in the United States was $13.54. So you mentioned, Scott, that it was $3.73 worldwide, but they're making it hand over fist here in the United States.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, folks, for submitting stories. It helps us put the show together every day. Let us know what you want us to talk about. dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Just because it gets the most votes doesn't mean it will make it in the show. It has to fit into everything else that we do, but it's extremely helpful to see what you guys are interested in. And sometimes it's just helpful to the other listeners. There's a top story about an H-1B lawsuit happening with Disney that's on there that I didn't include because I feel like it's more of an employment immigration story than it is a technology story, but it does involve Disney IT workers. And if you're interested in it, it's top story at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. So go take a look. That's a look at the headlines. All right, as we mentioned yesterday, Apple reported $18.4 billion quarterly profit. That's its largest in history. It's forecasting its first revenue decline for the coming quarter, though, the quarter that we're in right now. China was a bright spot last quarter. Record revenue up 14% year over year, so they didn't experience the strong headwinds, as they say there. China iPhone sales overall were only up 0.4%. Although they were up 18% in China. And Counterpoint estimated that sales were up 76% for the iPhone in India. 40% of iPhone users have not updated since before the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus came out, so people are holding on to their phones longer than they used to. But Apple emphasized that 1 billion people used Apple services. Apple services alone generated $5.5 billion, up 15% year over year. That's about the same amount of revenue as Starbucks generated in the quarter, just for comparison's sake. Tim Cook noted that an unfavorable exchange rate probably wiped out about $4.9 billion in revenue, but that would be something that other companies are fighting as well. And as for future projects, Cook said, in terms of VR, I don't think it's a niche. It's really cool and has some interesting applications, which is to say, he said nothing other than like, VR exists, and I like it.
It's a thing.
Yeah. So now comes the punditry, right? Now comes everyone saying Apple's in trouble because their record-breaking earnings weren't as big as their record-breaking earnings have been, and especially because they're forecasting a down quarter. Do you guys buy that? Do you think Apple is falling off a cliff here? It's the world's most valuable company.
I will throw in here real quick one aspect of this that I think nobody ever or nobody's considering that is actually a bit of a game changer in the overall phone market, not just for Apple, but this will be the first changeover right around the time the 7 comes out, in all theories later this year, the iPhone 7. That is their opportunity to take advantage of a full swing of everyone on new phone plans where they can upgrade their phone every time there's a new phone. They're paying AT&T and Sprint and everybody these, at least here in the States, they're paying them these monthly fees that are essentially letting them rent the phone for a year, and when that new phone comes out, boom, you own it. It's the first year I've been on that plan. It's the first year my wife, my 3 kids have been on that plan, and everyone I know, it's their first year being on that plan. Now, that's a small sample group. I don't know how big and far and wide this goes, but it does seem to me that that is, by and large, the way a lot of people went this time, because upgrading every year has become a thing they're doing, and they're always juking around their contract and going, well, I'll use my wife's contract because it's up already, and mine will be up next year, and she can get a new phone then. And rather than all that, people who just get their new phones, pay essentially what they were paying before, in some cases less. That is a big deal for how many 7s they ship. And I think that it being a new banner year for a phone, not an S year, and the fact that this is the new kind of role, the new rhythm for when you get your phones, I think that's going to add huge to their bottom line. So I'm kind of bullish on this next year, and I don't know about the next quarter, but the next year is going to be, I think, a big deal for them, and it's always end up being the big deal for them. People who want to say, "Oh, that's it, finally they've peaked. It'll be like 1994 again," are smoking crack. They have more money than most governments. They're fine, in my opinion. Breki, what's your temperature on this?
No, absolutely. I agree. I think the iPhone 7 is going to be really interesting. We've heard a lot of rumors of late of what they're starting to look at. But I think over time, Apple is going to pivot away from focusing on the iPhone. I think as of iOS 10, they might probably just go for iOS X and start doing named releases and do more patches like they did with the OS X. And instead, they're already looking at new things like the iPad Pro. They're looking at the Apple Watch. There's all these rumors about the car market, rumors about VR. So I think they're going to experiment and start going a little bit safer when it comes to the phone and the iPad markets.
Also, Tom, isn't it typical that, just to get back to the comment about VR real quick, when Tim Cook essentially acknowledges it exists, that's a very Apple thing to do. It's a very Steve Jobs thing to do, where somebody asked him, "Hey, is Apple working on a phone back in 2005 or whatever it was?" And he said, "Hey, I'd hang on to your Trios for now," or something, which sounded like, "No, we're not. We think it's a silly market." And it turns out they were deep in development and were definitely going to come out with a phone. So I'm not saying this means they definitely have some big VR plans, but this is what Apple does. They let everyone else scramble for this bleeding edge, like get it out first, Diamond Rio market, and then come in with the iPod.
Yeah, I think it's more significant that Gene Munster switched from asking about Apple TV to asking about VR, more so than it was that Tim Cook answered in a very congenial way. Yeah, VR ain't bad, and so people like to overread the tea leaves on Apple. Apple is definitely investigating VR. They're definitely investigating cars. Apple themselves may not know where they're going to go with either of those markets yet. They may be trying all kinds of things. In fact, they often don't know exactly which version of a prototype of an iPhone they're going to come out with until it's time to actually send the specs to the manufacturers to start making it. So we tend to assume that Apple has decided everything sometimes before they've actually decided, and that's true of any company. So yeah, I think it's very telling that now everyone's looking at Apple going, hey, what about VR? Because you're right, we all know that Apple doesn't come in first on things most often. They try to come in and be perfect. Now, here's where I would say Apple does have an issue, is that the iPad Pro, sure, it's a new product, but really it's just a bigger iPad. The Apple Watch has been their next new beat after the iPad, and I don't think it has really captured the market. The fact that they're still reporting it in other products, which, by the way, we incorrectly said that Apple sold 4.35 million Apple Watches yesterday. Apple reports Apple Watch numbers in with iPod and Apple TV numbers and a few other things as other products. So what we know is they sold $4.35 billion in sales. Probably most of that is Apple Watch. But that alone says, yeah, this category isn't big enough for them to tout on its own. So the thing that should be filling in the gap is the iPhone very understandably matures. The phone is a mature audience. There isn't an obvious heir to that the way, iPad did fill in for a while and then it commoditized pretty fast. The iPhone, if you recall, took over from the iPod. The music player was the big revenue generator for years. So we're still waiting for Apple to figure out what that next big hit is going to be. The Apple Watch could still be it. It could be VR. It could be car related. It could be something we totally don't expect. I don't know. I do think, however, that the other part of Apple's strategy that we didn't see in the early parts of the 2000s is globalization, and that while they don't sell enough in India for this to make up ground fast, India is going to be a huge market for them. As China stables out, that's going to stopgap some of that stability and provide some new growth there in India.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to make a prediction on the VR front, it would be that if the market shows that there's room to grow and whatever, like I think that the watch market is the same thing. You got to get in there, but we're not to the place where that's the end all be all yet.
Well, the weird thing about the watch market, and tell me what you guys think. Usually it's smartphones, they're kind of clunky. Ooh, iPhone, totally changed. Tablets, who would make a tablet? iPad, totally changed. Apple Watch, wearables are still kind of like, well, I don't know. They didn't totally change it.
Yeah,
right. Or at least not yet. I mean, the rumor right now is that they're going to be announcing the iWatch 2 or the Apple Watch 2 in March, April. So we still don't really know what's going to happen there. And I think when it comes to the watch, it's the old you've heard the truck and the car analogy, where sometimes you need a truck, sometimes you need a car. So the truck would be the iMac and the car would be the iPhone. But sometimes you just need a bike, and that would be the Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also, I think, has to get to a place where I like that they're focusing on the kind of high end, and it's expensive, and you can buy the crazy wraparound wrist things for $1,500 and all that stuff. I think that's good that they have their hands in that cookie jar, but that also needs to be at the baseline a much more affordable thing. I think when they get to a place like they did with the phone, where it's much more of a commodity, and it's much less expensive to get in there, then that's when that market goes bananas, because you're still going to have the Apple name, you're going to have the quality you hope you get from them, and you're going to not be paying $400 for a watch. It's the reason I didn't get one. I don't think the price justifies the use cases. And a lot of the people I know that own them have said to me, yeah, you're kind of right. Well, that may all change, and it very well could change quicker than we think. My whole thing is they're never going to release, let's say in VR, they are not going to release a giant motorcycle helmet-looking thing for us to put on our heads. There's
the iHead.
It won't happen because it's too clunky and goofy right now. When that stuff becomes latency-free and very light and on your head and not connected to 20 computers to make it work right, or some other hybrid that works with their phones or something similar to Gear VR or whatever, they're going to come up with a much more simplified, for good or for ill, no matter how you feel about their sort of snobby design aesthetics. That is we know they'd go that direction regardless. The question is,
and that's going to take 2 or 3 years, right? Because they're going to wait until we see Oculus and Vive and Sony come out with all of theirs before they come in and try to take advantage of that market and say, here's the way it should work. At least that's what Apple's hope is.
Sure, and their focus, I think, would be a lot more on the experiences and not on games and not on things that seem, in their eyes, more trivial. They'll focus it on a more refined experience, visiting a place or spending time on the moon or whatever those experiences are, and having an app store. They're good at that. They know that ecosystem. They could curate something pretty strong in that space. But I don't think they want to just wing it and I also think they need optics technologies and some of the other stuff tied to VR, which is so new. They need that stuff to come down in price big time so that they can swoop in and say, all right, now we want to get involved in this. That will also be a great sign for us VR aficionados. It means that VR is coming to a place where somebody like Apple and Google and others are changing things up and deciding to make great products and, you know, pushing the whole thing forward. So if that day comes where they throw their hat in the ring and Google is clearly throwing more weight behind it by changing things up with their VR research department, we're in for some, I think, some of the best years ahead. They're just not going to happen for a while.
They could virtually be the best years.
Yeah,
virtually.
The best years of our lives, Breki. Of our lives.
I hope so. I hope so. I just
right.
don't see Apple moving into the VR business anytime soon. I think they're just way too busy focusing on improving the Apple Watch and the iPhone and the iPad at the moment. And sure, I mean, they're probably putting a lot of resources into, checking out VR, checking out cars, checking out other technologies that might be relevant. But I just don't see them committing anytime soon.
Yeah, I think the earliest would be 3 years. That's my guess. That would be early for them. Just comparing where the VR market is with no products, let's be clear, other than cardboard or Gear VR, I guess. There really aren't a whole lot of products out there in the serious VR space. It's going to take a while before Apple feels comfortable moving in. I think you're right. All right, our pick of the day is a tad niche, but Mark in Maryland says if you're using Windows 10, you certainly want to install the free Spotbright app. If you love the daily lock screen rotation of Windows Spotlight pictures but desperately can't find a way to download those pictures permanently, this is the app for you. Downloads a ton of super high-quality Windows Spotlight photos in both PC, tablet, and phone form factors, so all of those. It's just awesome and easy to use. You can find it at Microsoft.com. We'll have a direct link in the show notes at dailytechnewsshow.com. Thank you, Mark. Just kind of a nifty little tool if you're a Windows user and you've been admiring those Spotlight pictures. Here's a chance to save them.
Nice.
Looks good.
Microsoft.
I think I'll probably be installing this on my work computer. It looks great.
Yeah. Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find more picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Final email comes from Julian, a taxi driver from Hamburg. And yes, he very much thinks that Uber is playing unfair, and he told us about that in his email. But that's not the point I'm going to raise here. He hasn't had such good luck with Waze. Now, I sing Waze privileges. I sing Waze praises here in Los Angeles. But in his locale in Hamburg, he likes TomTom. He says, why TomTom? They get the speed and location of every Vodafone user in Germany and try to find where a traffic jam is. But they have found out where a lower speed on a road is normal. They also add information about construction areas, temporary one-way streets, temporary roadblocks, and the number of streets that TomTom covers in Germany is much higher than Google. In the U.S., they have better coverage. So he likes TomTom, and if you're in Germany, it sounds like it might be better for you. Waze does all of these things that Julian says. It adds construction info and one-way streets and low speeds. And I think what he's really pointing out, which I think is true, is your navigation app that uses crowdsourced information is only going to be as good as the size of the crowd. And I don't know that there are a ton of TomTom users here, but again, what they're doing in Germany is using every Vodafone user, so you got a lot more people feeding into the database. Now Waze is tied in with Lyft. But I will still stand by the fact that Waze operates very well in Los Angeles, and I know that it doesn't operate well in every city because it maybe not have enough users using it. Breki, I'm curious if there's one that you guys use for navigation in Sweden.
Not that I'm aware of. I've looked into both, and they both seem to be roughly the same. I think Waze just looks better because it has cuter icons.
And it gives you little bonus points when you roll over certain points in the road. With that, when it first started happening, scared the crap out of me because I was like, "What happened? What was that?"
Yeah.
Upgrade.
TomTom, I feel like TomTom had a bigger splash in the early days of phone apps, and it seemed like that was the way to go. And then a lot of time passed, and then Waze cropped up, and then I haven't heard about TomTom in so long. I kind of thought it had gone. We use Waze around here, and it's awesome in Salt Lake City. It's really, really good. But again, I think that's because there's a very active base of people using it. So I think Tom's totally right. If you got a bunch of people using it, there's your crowd source. You need the crowd to source it, baby.
Yeah, there's lots of other navigation apps out there. You go check them out, find out which one works the best for you. I think Julian, because he uses TomTom and loves it, feels like it's probably not getting enough respect. So thank you for writing, Julian, so that we could point some praise where it is well deserved. Well, that is it for this show. Thank you, Breki Tomasson, for joining us today, man. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Scicon.fm. Now that is spelled CSICON.FM. And you're always building more and better content over there. It's amazing.
Always, every single day.
Check it out.
We just relaunched the site now in January, so we have a brand new design that just works so much better for a podcasting network than the old one did.
Yeah, I need to do this more often when people are like, what about an international perspective? Scicon FM.
Yeah,
it exists. Go take a look, subscribe, enjoy. And of course, frogpants.com. Scott Johnson, what have you been up to?
Oh, there's so many things, but I can't. None of them are jumping to mind specifically. But if you want to follow progress on all my projects and catch any of my shows, frogpants.com for the site, and follow me on Twitter as always at Scott Johnson.
Thank you for supporting our show. We are directly supported by you. If you get value out of the show, we just ask that you give a little bit of that value back. Maybe it's $1, maybe it's $5, maybe it's 5 cents, maybe it's $1,000. We're not going to stop you. Go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support and give whatever you feel it's worth. Maybe it's nothing. I don't know. It's up to you. Patreon.com/DTNS as well. Stay tuned on the audio version or look in the treasure chest if you're a $5 a month patron supporter or more for an excellent voicemail from a physician on what kinds of things Watson has been shown to be helpful with for doctors. It's a really good perspective that's on the audio episode or in the treasure chest. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. It's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website at dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young from On the Road in Iowa. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Nice.
Good show. What should we call it?
Ooh, I have thoughts about that.
Tell us your thoughts.
Your ethereal voice.
My mind to your mind.
TVZ Gun said, "My God, the internet is full of stars."
Starry thing? Is that the thing? That's
Starry. Yeah.
Facebook
I still don't get the 38 gigahertz thing. It's so high frequency that rain blocks it.
Yeah. No, I know.
Facebook really finally reacts to your friend's death, which is a little dark. Google Cardboard, more fun than a chair in a room. Apple falls far from the trend. Ooh.
Good one.
Facebook gets more faces.
Ice delivery.
Ice delivery, yeah.
That's my next favorite to buggy whips.
Yeah, those are the ones I think. Other than stereo.
Stereo. Meh book.
Yeah.
Stereo.
Moving in stereo.
So yeah, those are my thoughts. We have 3 that are tied for the top place. So let your voices be heard, people. Let them ring out. Also, Tom, apropos of yesterday, there's a really cool new picture of Snap Wexley on the internet.
Nice. Where is it?
It's a Geek Tyrant. It's new character photos from Star Wars. I will put it in the chat room, which I just realized I'm not in.
Oh, shit, neither am
I. What?
Wexley.
Snap Wexley is the place to be.
I've just made myself into the leader of the Snap Wexley fan club.
Yeah. I mean, also, Geek Tyrant spells Greg Grunberg's name wrong, so I'm a little mad about that, but it's still cool.
Wait, so if Aftermath features Tammin Wexley, a.k.a. Snap,
yeah,
does that prevent us from having an anthology picture about Snap Wexley or encourage it?
Depends on whether
I'm
more
going
people than us actually. I mean, if anyone else liked the Chuck Wendig books,
Yeah, most
I'm
people
having a
are
hard
down on
time
them.
with those books.
Yeah. But I
And I
want
want-
Greg Grunberg to be the star of a Star
Yeah.
Wars picture.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I
we can
think-
get JJ to do another movie.
Oh yeah.
Just not part of the general series, but a standalone.
Actually, I have an even better idea. What about a Snap Wexley-led TV series?
Snap
Ooh.
Wexley TV series about Snap Wexley going to college.
Yep.
Ah,
Yep. And then
Professor Akbar.
yep. Oh my gosh.
And his
They could get Ken Young's character to join as well.
You gotta
Yeah.
do your work. It's a time.
I think it's really interesting that many of those people were TV people, and maybe it says something. And then maybe after college, Snap Wexley can join like a secret agency that thinks it's a secret agency, but it's really another secret agency.
Snap Wexley's in college with a droid named 4LCT.
Yeah.
And then he developed mutant powers and can read minds.
Yes.
And then he's the pilot of an airplane that crashes on this weird,
Yes.
mysterious island.
I like it.
Wexley's in everything.
He can't get eaten by a polar bear. We got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Of course, of course. I mean, he was the voice of Captain Kirk's uncle in Star Trek 2009.
Oh,
Mhm.
really?
Well, no, it's his stepfather.
Stepfather, that's the one.
Yeah. But yeah, he's in the car that little Kirk is driving,
Mhm.
and he says, "If you think you have one scratch on my car, blah, 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 blah," and that's Greg Grunberg doing VO.
It is.
I like that.
Every time J.J. Abrams does something, Greg Grunberg is there somewhere. I mean,
Yeah.
even before going to The Force Awakens, I hadn't checked the cast because I wanted to be as unspoiled as possible. My first thought is, where is Greg Grunberg going to be in this?
Well, they're BFFs.
Of
They grew
course.
up together.
Yeah.
That means he must have a lot of J.J. Abrams' secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
It's all a conspiracy theory.
No, I mean, like that's how best friends are. You have stuff on your best friend because they confide in you. Perhaps.
Why do you think I have Roger around?
Mm,
Well, I thought it's because Josh was over at Stanford. It's a
Here comes 11/22/63. Speaking of J.J. Abrams, it's coming
Really looking
soon.
forward to that. Yeah.
Shut up, Wexley.
Wexley, get off the bridge, Wexley.
That's credit Strike It Rich in the chat room, by the way. Shut up, Wexley.
Wexley.
Yeah, you're gonna do it with an Akbar.
Shut up, Wexley. We can't get it magnitude.
This post show's got class. Oh wait, speaking of class, look what came in the mail during the show. This is so
what is it?
What is it?
So exciting. I can't see.
Me neither.
She froze.
Black. Are you still there, Jenny?
She got so excited she froze her.
Yeah, it was
her
so
connection.
exciting it kicked me off the internet. Okay, let's try this again. Look.
Oh, check that out. That's the forecast 2044 calendar.
Yeah, the
Oh,
first 6
nice.
months.
I'm so excited.
Tom, did you get yours yet? You should have gotten.
No, well, I bet it's either coming or it might even be sitting outside the door right now.
It very well may be. I got it yesterday.
I love when just random stuff appears from the Frog Pants East network. It's like, it's just amazing. It just showed up in the mail.
It is good. I also like it when I got Norwegian chocolate today.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, from Norwegia.
From Norwegia.
Norwaland.
Yeah, Norweland. I'm very excited, but I can't open it until the other two chuckleheads on the show get it, and then I'll eat it.
Which brand is it? Could you hold it up?
Let's see. How do I have to open this? Hang on. You'd know this too, wouldn't you? You guys
Probably.
You guys are all colluding over there anyway.
Mhm.
Kind of. We have a kind of a U.S. versus Canada kind of relationship.
I understand. Okay, here we go. It is. Oh, it flew out. All right, one of them is Topris Kubi. I don't know what that is, but I'm holding it up. Okay, and then there's
That probably means top rice, so it's probably a rice, popped rice kind of candy.
here's one that's called Kviklunsky.
It is what it is. It's a quick lunch.
Okay, is that really what that is?
Yeah.
Weird.
It's kind of like not too far from Kit Kats.
Oh, okay. It feels like a Kit Kat, just holding it.
Yeah.
So Kvik Lun SJ is the actual word, and I like the SJs in the last part. Okay, so here's one called the Mandel. I assume this is a germaphobe ex-actor from TV and also hosts game shows now.
That's exactly what that is. Yeah. Or it could just be the Norwegian word for almond.
This one has me excited. Kom Kira Mikkels Joka Kolade.
Mjölkchoklad.
It looks like light milk chocolate.
Yep, that's what it is.
Damn.
And one last one. The Skaft Dugan Hobby.
Oh, look at that.
Don't know that one.
The Hobby Lobby.
it's paste and craft materials.
Well, I just checked the mailbox, and look what I got. Don't let this dog die.
No.
Oh wait, I got tax documents. Wait, no. Actually, I got something from Frog Pants East.
Yay!
Speaking of dogs dying, have you guys checked out doesthedogdie.com?
No, and I'm not going to.
It's a service where you can look up movies to see if animals are hurt or killed during the movie.
Okay.
So if you're going to see a movie, go to doesthedogdie.com, type in the name of the movie, and it'll tell you that no animals died in this movie.
I assume you mean the character of the animal?
Yeah, they just mean because no animals are harmed in the making of most pictures, but like you don't want to see the sad like, oh my gosh, the dog got killed in Legend.
Once you see some old movie, something made in like the mid '60s or something, and an animal is mistreated.
Yeah, but I think what they're going for is like I Am Legend. You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I still can't think about that movie.
Ooh, there's a check in here, too.
What?
Yeah, our first month's hoo-ha.
All right. Oh, so this is the box stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, everything. He sent you a copy of everything everyone gets. The Mario duck, the calendar. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, that's the membership card. Yeah, every month.
Current Geek supporter.
Every month they get a new unique one of those for the month. I've got a nice little system going for that. The system.
February 2044. I love that we did that.
That makes me so happy. I'm going to put it up as my calendar.
Anniversary of Peak Television.
The art was really fun. We'll do the latter half in like June. I'm actually kind of getting into I'm really getting into it. It's fun.
Star Wars Anthology Yoda's Stick Collection premieres.
Oh, Jenny, congratulations on the Tom and Garrett Star Wars thing.
Oh yeah, I'm having fun being a host.
Oh yeah, that time flew.
Except I'm so mad about my microphone. That was all my fault. I'm so mad about it.
Yeah, I blamed you the minute I heard it. It's fine.
God damn it. It just made me so upset because it was just like a bad day where lots of things were breaking, and it's the one thing I didn't do was check my levels. And I was on a different computer, and it just utterly perplotzed. And it just, now I can't listen to it because it makes me so upset.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
Got to check
right?
I always check my privilege. You always check your levels. We'll meet in the middle.
I always check myself before I wreck myself.
Yeah. Yes.
Valuable lessons.
You know what I checked at the door? My attitude.
Right where you should.
Can I add to that, or would that just end the joke?
No, I want it.
I was going to say, check your privilege. But...
Oh, that was my first one.
Oh.
So in a way, it did end the joke because
check your ears, Roger.
I always cash my checks.
You know what? I got nothing. What am I gonna say? Oh, my kid's sucking on a bottle, so I can't hear anything.
No, that's actually pretty fair, honestly.
That's a fair.
Roger's a dad, guys. He can't make time for all of these jokes. He's creating life.
He's a dad.
Creating my wife gestated the life. I'm
right.
Just ensuring that.
But you're shepherding it.
Yes, I'm ensuring my investment.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you guys know that when President Obama says "Yes, we can" backwards, it says "Thank you, Satan"? Did you guys know that?
What?
This does not surprise me. I've always suspected something was up with that man.
We've really been into this backmasking stuff on TMS lately, and we found this. Check it out.
Thank you, say.
Thank
Wow. That's better than that was more impressive than I expected, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was like
Yeah, and he did, and then one speech, his acceptance speech in '08, I think it was, or his inaugural, or whatever it was, he went on and said, "Yes, we can," a lot, like, I don't know, 10 or 15 times, and so the tape just plays like he's thanking Satan over and over again.
I heard if you play Donald Trump's speeches backwards, they sound the same.
Oh, well, probably not wrong.
They're like palindromes.
Like boob. Everything sounds like boob.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that made me laugh.
That's awesome.
We tried to do it. Oh yeah, I had Ibbot do it, and he said he sounds like he's saying it too. So we had him say yes.
Oh yeah, so just show like that's just a thing.
Yeah. So here's his. Thank you, Satan. It's close.
Wow.
I think it depends on how you pronounce your Satan.
It does.
Yeah, it gets a little of an accent when you.
But like,
Yeah.
is Satan really a bad word?
I don't know. Dude.
Like in Hebrew, does it just mean adversary?
Yeah, adversary or opponent.
I think our entire point was that you could play anything backwards and come up with a brain pattern recognizing thing and then stick to it, and it's usually negative.
What if you played everything you've ever said in your life backwards? Would there be some hidden gem of like a book or
there-
like a?
Oh right, like if you play enough backwards, do you get Shakespeare?
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
That's better than monkey.
Yeah. Well, you know, did they try something with chimps and typewriters a while ago?
Yep.
They couldn't have an infinite number, though. Isn't that part of the deal? Is it has to be infinite?
Infinite number of monkeys or infinite time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard bit to replicate.
I mean, who has time for infinite monkeys?
No one.
Nobody.
Or room. Or sanitation.
Scott Johnson always can be counted on to bring the poop.
Well, you know, I mean, think about it. Unlimited monkeys. That is a nightmare. Oh,
Unlimited poop.
yeah. It would never
When we
end.
do our nightly news style promos for DTNS, that'll figure prominently.
Mhm.
And the man who brings you the poop, Scott Johnson.
Unlimited
Yeah.
poop.
Unmitigated poop.
Unmitigated, yeah.
Could be
Unfiltered.
on Gary Canoe.
He's not afraid to bring you the unmitigated poop.
Hey,
Poop.
good job, by the way, Scott. Good job today.
Oh, thanks.
I liked your read.
Oh, you liked my read, did you?
Yeah,
You
you
wanted
did a
to
good job with the names.
The Go guy name?
The Go Guy name.
I just ripped through it.
See, that's all it takes.
Someone changed it back from my phonetic. Is that you?
No,
No,
I didn't.
changed it.
I didn't change it. Maybe I did.
Wasn't me.
I may have undid.
Nobody's owning
Are
up.
you the undead? What?
I've let it out. It's out of the bag. I'm the undead.
Although
Everyone-
do keep in
sometimes-
mind with that sort of thing that we rely on that doc for show notes.
Oh, no. I had planned to go back and change it, which is why I
Yeah.
checked it in.
Maybe you got ahead of yourself, changed it back two for two.
Maybe I did. Yeah, I didn't want to leave any bombs in there for your show notes, but sometimes if I go phonetic, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Just put it in when you want to go phonetic. Put it in parentheses in the
That
phonetic and
works.
parentheses, and then it's like, well, that's just what the show looks like.
Yeah, and then it's a helpful little thing.
Yeah.
Well, the thing for me is it's less about reminding me how to say it. It's more to remind me to not
Pause.
go Mr. Self-effacing and say,
Got it.
that word's funny. You know, like I
Yeah.
tend to do. So
I think
Oh.
sometimes my writers at Geek Days just mess with me intentionally by finding the most obscure names. Like Indian or Pakistani scientists have just discovered something, and here's their name.
yeah,
I get accused by contributors of that as well.
Hmm.
names are hard, man.
They are. I mean, sometimes we just dream of days where Eric Schmidt has a new story out there. I mean, this morning was simple. It was Lawrence Krauss. That was simple enough.
Those heady days.
Mm.
One of these days there'll be a story about what. Speaking of Eric Schmidt, what's the company he helped run back here in Provo? Freaking. I think of the name. What's wrong with me? They had office. They bought WordPerfect.
Word perfect. What decade is this, man?
WordPerfect and Why can't I think of the stupid name? He used to have GroupWise.
Oh my God.
Help me here.
You're stressing me out, man. Too old.
Sun?
Frick.
Oh no, don't install. Don't install.
Novell. Ugh. Anyway, Novell. Novel. Used to be big name in tech. They bought and owned WordPerfect and managed it for a while, and they sold it to Corel. They were the GroupWise people, like all this kind of stuff, and then suddenly, and we were all proud of them because they were like right here in Provo, and then suddenly just nothing. And I assume they're still doing things.
They rebranded. They're now called Micro Focus or something.
GroupWise, Micro Focus, Novell. Let's see. Mobile, flexible, and fresh.
That just says everything you need to know about that company.
GroupWise 2014. It's like another. We had another favorite local. It was the zip drive people, iOmega. They were like 30 minutes north of me, and they were huge. They were the darlings of the industry for so long, and then suddenly they didn't matter anymore. Just like poof, no one cared. That's how I'm starting to feel about eBay. They're on the crux of that.
Yeah, iOmega doesn't exist anymore. They're now part of Lenovo, I think.
Yeah, they got bought
What
up.
about Jazz? Do Jazz?
Yeah, man, remember
What happened
those?
to them?
Were those a gigabyte or a terabyte? No, they were a gigabyte.
I think
I guess iOmega owned Jazz, so it's the same.
someone at nextdoor.com is listening to a lot of Frog Pants programs because 3 of my little headlines are about poop.
Oh, see, none of mine are. I have found puppy, earthquake retrofitting, and Westside Pacific Village's informational meeting.
No, there's like just this whole long thing about dog poop.
I am being besmirched. I don't think I talk about poop very often. But
Oh, sure.
now I've got a rep.
I always choose to talk about poop, but when
I'll admit, if there's a good poop story to put on TMS and it's funny, I'll lean in.
I don't think it's a matter of volume, Scott. I think it's quality. Like you always talk about the best poop stories.
Oh yeah.
You know, your doctor will tell you it's about quality, not volume. So
Frequency.
and frequency, regularity.
Yeah, exactly. You're the most reliable source of these kinds of stories.
Over at bustle.com right now, we can train ourselves to poop regularly and easily.
Great.
It's a
Did you
good
just
skill?
bustle?
No, I went to news.google.com and typed in poop. That was the first match.
That's the latest.
Wow.
Indian children rolled in cow poop for good luck.
Oh,
That was
no.
18 hours ago. Should you eat poop to lose weight, according to Forbes?
No.
No, you shouldn't.
Forbes?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a new thing about it's like repopulating the bacteria in your gut.
Oh, well, that's different than eating poop. They could have rephrased that headline.
Transplant. It's not eating. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's typical of Forbes.
Yeah, in this case, it's actually freeze-dried poop pills.
Yeah, they're good for you. Well, not good for you. Some people need them.
Yeah. It's not a big old bowl of sauce.
Right. It's not like, hey, Hank, come here. We need a fresh one.
Chocolate pudding. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right.
All right.
I'm
Thanks
starting
everybody
feeling
for watching.
terrible.
We're out of here. Goodbye.